Welcome to Match Monday, a series where I will be breaking down a classic full wrestling match by giving historical perspectives, technical, and strategic analysis. This first match took place on January 20th, 2017 and was between Penn State's Zain Retherford and Iowa's Brandon Sorenson at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City, Iowa. Both are two-time All-Americans, Sorenson placing as high as second in 2015, and Retherford of Penn State is the returning NCAA champ. Let's get into the match. The match opens up with both guys fighting for position and a lot of clubs and hands to the face. This continues throughout the match, but it never gets called. This is something that seems to be cyclical in wrestling. One year it'll be a point of emphasis to penalize guys for hands to the face, and over a few years the calls start to fade away. 2017 was definitely not a heavy hands to the face penalization year based on this match. Typically, Brandon and Zain both like to work from ties, but in this match, Sorenson seems to be avoiding a heavy hand fight and instead working a lot of motion and level changes to try to catch Zain off guard. As you can see, Zain seems to be controlling the center of the mat, but is unable to really access a tie. Sorenson is moving and taking a lot of half shots, but really isn't able to make a committed shot to Zain's legs. Zain takes a shot from the outside to try to get something going, but without a good setup, he isn't able to convert to a finish. Zain is able to get to a single leg by getting Sorenson to reach and extend his hand. Zain is going to finish on the shelf here by circling behind, placing Sorenson's leg on Zain's own thigh and reaching to Sorenson's far leg. Zain gets this first takedown to go up 2-0. Zain is extremely tough on top, is going to spend a lot of the match trying to get his right leg in. This quick escape from Sorenson is huge in terms of disrupting Zain's typical game plan. It's also big for Sorenson's confidence as Zain beat him 10-1 last time they met. Again, they go back to a lot of hands to the face, and Zain is trying to get to more ties, but Sorenson is snapping away and circling from the ties. It does look like a lot of the times when Zain does start getting into a harder hand fight, Sorenson drops to his knee to avoid Zain being able to get to a leg attack. They continue to club each other and go hands to the face with no real committed attacks for a while. Zain does try to force an underhook a couple times, but Sorenson's able to block and circle out pretty quick. As I've watched this match multiple times now, I could tell that Sorenson's game plan is working really well because he's really slowing Zain down. Sorenson also has thousands of Hawkeye fans on his side, which has historically been a problem for visiting wrestlers. Sorenson gets to a nice single leg after his initial single leg is blocked. Sorenson actually reclubs Zain's head and is able to get to Zain's leg pretty clean without coming off his knees. Sorenson finishes with a modified shelf finish as he tried to take the leg high, but Zain opted to stay on the mat. This gives Sorenson a 3-2 lead. Zain gets a quick escape, but the Hawkeye crowd is going crazy for this. Zain does not give up very many takedowns. The match is tied at 3, and it's apparent Zain tries to pick up the pace at the end of the first, and Sorenson is feeling much more comfortable wrestling with Zain. There's only one more committed shot by Zain that Sorenson stops, and the first period ends with a lot of clubs and hands to the face again. Zain again is going to control the center of the mat, and Sorenson is going to tap and club from the outside, trying to see if he can get another opening before the end of the period. Zain is continuing to look for ties, but trying not to extend himself to give Sorenson an opening. The amount of hands to the face in this match, it really is unbelievable. The refs don't ever even warn either of the guys about the hands to the face. The coaches get on the refs a little bit, but they seem okay with letting it go as well. At this point, both guys seem okay with going to the end of the period with no scores. They're just trying to kind of get the other guy a little more tired. The hand fight definitely gets a little bit stiffer as the period comes to an end, and Zain is going to have choice in the second. Zain takes bottom in the second to start. Zain gets to his feet almost immediately, and Sorenson holds on for a little bit, but he's unable to return him, so Sorenson lets Zain go. They continue to trade clubs and hands to the face while taking half shots for most of the period. Zain does try to force his underhook a few more times throughout this period, but he's unable to get anything going from it as Sorenson defends. Here's one of those half shots from Sorenson. Again, they're going to continue palming each other in the face, clubbing each other on the head. A couple more half shots from Sorenson. Zain takes a committed shot but isn't able to penetrate to his legs. So a lot of movement, a lot of clubbing. Here's where Zain's going to try and force that underhook a little bit. Neither guy is really able to get to a committed shot throughout this entire period, even though their hands and clubs are fairly good in getting each other moving. There seems to be some concern about taking risks from both guys. Sorenson obviously knows how dangerous Zain is if he gets on top. I think Zain's a little bit more frustrated that he can't get anything going. He's normally able to score points at will on just about anybody in the country. I think Zain's trying to stay patient and not let Sorenson's tactics get to him. The fans do come into play here in this match, and I'm sure Zain is also trying to avoid the pressure that comes with wrestling at Carver Hawkeye Arena that has affected so many great wrestlers in the past. Zain gets on a single leg here with his head down. He wants to go waterfall position, but isn't able to convert, and nothing ends up happening from that position. The guys go back to continuing hitting each other in the face and clubbing each other on the head. Zain would normally stay in these tie-ups, but for some reason, when Sorensen's snapping away, Zain's snapping away, it seems like he doesn't feel comfortable getting back into a tie. It's just kind of a weird thing that's happening in this match that I don't think is normal for Zain or for Sorenson. I definitely think Sorenson is one of the few guys that is good enough to work from the outside on Zain and keep the match close. I don't think most guys could pull this off with Zain. Sorensen's the number 3 guy in the country right now. We're going to get a few more taps to the head, and then we're going to go to the third period with Sorensen's choice. Sorenson is going to go bottom, which is a dangerous but necessary decision here. Zain is able to turn and ride very, very well. He has an excellent Turk and turns a lot of guys from his leg rides. Sorenson was able to escape really quickly in the first, so he needed to get this point to tie it back up. Sorenson spends some time elbow fighting a referee's position before getting to his butt and winning inside position. He gets to his feet and he actually runs away from Zain, but Zain is able to trip him back down. You can see how committed Zain is to getting this ride. On the restart, Zain works to get his right leg in right away. He's working really hard to at least get this riding point and hopefully a turn to blow the match open. Sorenson is able to stand up with Zain's legs in, and they get a stalemate, and Sorenson has to go back down. The Iowa coaching staff gets a little fired up about this sequence because they felt that the stalemate should have been called way faster because they're trying to save Sorenson some riding time. Tom Brands is letting the refs know they should have made that call a lot faster, and Kale doesn't really care what's going on. He just wants his guy to perform. On the next restart, Sorenson is able to earn an escape with basic fundamental inside stand-up position and a forced quad pod. The Iowa crowd goes crazy when Sorenson escapes without giving up riding time. Zain has definitely got to be feeling the pressure of the situation and the crowd. Again, lots of clubs and hands to the face. You can really start to see the exhaustion on both guys' face late in this third period. They're still clubbing each other hard, getting to that hands in the face, and trying to move each other, trying to set each other up for a takedown. Both guys know that most likely the next takedown will win this match. Sorenson times a great head pull as Zain reaches and gets in on a high crotch. Sorenson scores with a basic change off to a double. Again, the crowd loses it for Sorenson's takedown. Zain is up and out instantly and in on Sorenson's leg. He posts up in a waterfall position. He ends up circling and hooking Sorenson's leg and getting to a shelf position and scoring a takedown for a 1-point lead, 7-6 with 17 seconds to go. However, Zain gets stuck down here on Sorenson's leg, which he is not allowed to do. He needs to come up. So he's going to get hit for a stalling call because he stays down on Sorenson's legs for more than 5 seconds. Zain's willing to take this stalling call because he feels he's going to be able to ride Sorenson out for the rest of the period and win the match. The entire arena is on their feet. I have no idea what Tom Brands is trying to say here, but this is a lot of energy from Kale from the corner. Sorenson fights hard to win the inside position and hits more of a roll to his butt. He's able to get hip separation and grab Zain's head and circle away from Zain to tie it up with 11 seconds left in regulation. Look at this arena. The entire arena is going bananas right now. They are going to have to figure this one out in overtime. At the end of regulation, there's a huge ovation, and the Brands brothers want him on the line right away. They can smell blood in the water. They think Zain is gassed. Early in this first overtime period, you could see Zain start looking for an elbow pass on Sorenson, trying to open up something new, trying to look for something different. Sorenson does a nice job of moving his feet and continuing to circle so Zain doesn't have an opening. Nice half shot there by Sorenson. Again, in this period, you're going to see a lot of clubbing, a lot of hands to the face. In these overtimes, you're going to notice that Sorenson picks up his shot volume quite a bit. He's looking for that second stall call on Zain to get out of this match. Other than the obvious reason that refs don't want to call stalling in these high-pressure matches where they want the two guys to figure out who the winner should be, Zain does a great job controlling center, even though Sorenson's shot volume might be greater. Zain is controlling the center of the mat. He's moving Sorenson around. Sorenson is backing up a little bit more. So it makes sense that they wouldn't be getting stall calls for either guy at this point. However, the hands to the face is completely excessive. I can't believe there's not even been a verbal warning to either guy about the hands to the face. At this point, it's probably too late because they've been doing it the whole match, and 1 point against one guy would end the match. Okay, so we're going to the first set of rideouts. Zain goes bottom first. Sorenson's using a spiral ride and putting a lot of pressure on Zain's head. Zain is able to lower his left shoulder and slide Sorenson off for an escape. Both guys immediately go to palm each other in the face. Watch this. Wham, right in the face. There's not going to be any committed attacks in these 15 seconds. Both guys are just going to club, hands to the face, circle, and we're going to go to another ride out. And you can see every fan in the background. It is standing room only in Carver Hawkeye Arena right now. This is awesome. It must have been awesome to be there. Sorenson takes bottom, and he's going to go right back to his bottom game plan. He's going to win inside position with his elbows and then get to his butt. Zain is going to be able to get his right leg in, Zain locks his legs and starts looking to tilt Sorenson with an underhook on his right side. Sorenson is trying to peel Zain's feet apart so that he can get the leg out. He's able to get enough separation to get that right leg out, and he's just going to roll Zain through, and Zain loses his balance and has to give up the escape. Again, no shots in these last 6 seconds, but the crowd is giving it up for both these guys in the impressive match they're putting on right now. We're going back to neutral, another 1 minute on their feet, and these guys are totally exhausted. You can tell as soon as this fourth overtime period starts, you could see the exhaustion on both guys. They are both toughing it out. They are both totally gassed and working to score, working to get this one for their teams. Again, Sorenson's shot volume is going to jump up here. He's looking to draw that stall call, but he also knows that his best chance to win this is getting a takedown in the neutral position. Going to rideouts with Zain is not going to benefit Sorenson. He's going to be a major underdog in that situation. If they go to another set of rideouts, the guy who has the most riding time will win the match if no other points are scored, and Zain is up on riding time with 9.6 seconds. And we're back to a lot of hands to the face. Sorenson takes another committed shot. Zain gets to his short O, but is unable to score. Sorenson goes to a long face palm here. I think he's trying to get Zain to try to move around his hand to try to get some motion going so he can open something up. And Zain is going to come moving forward here, getting to his inside ties in these last 10 seconds. He's looking for that underhook again. He really can't get much going. Sorenson at this point is blocking. Looks like he might have a throat block in there as the period comes to an end, and they're going back to rideouts. Sorenson's starting on bottom this time, and again, he's trying to fight to his butt and win that elbow position. Zain gets his right leg in. Sorenson's fighting to get it out, and he does get it out. But while Sorenson's working on the hand fight, Zain's able to get his leg back in. He goes to tilt Sorenson, and Sorenson's forced to belly out, and Zain's going to get him flat here. He's got him flat and 11 seconds to work with his legs in. Sorenson can't get to his base. He's trying to build, but there's not much he can do. Zain's going to get the ride out for this overtime. This ride out totally sucks the air completely out of the arena. The crowd goes silent. Sorenson cannot regain riding time. Zain has 39 seconds of riding time, and Sorenson would only be able to get 30 seconds of riding time. So Sorenson is forced to cut Zain with 30 seconds left. So Zain has a 1-point lead, but he does have a stalling call, so he has to wrestle. Sorenson's really going to try to pick up the pace and have a high shot volume to try to either get a takedown or pull out a stalling call. Sorenson has to open up a little bit more than he has earlier in the match, and Zain's going to be able to get to his left-handed underhook a little bit better to slow Sorenson down. The Iowa crowd spends the entire period calling for a stalling call against Zain. However, Zain does do another great job of staying in the center, controlling the center, moving Sorenson backwards, and not getting that stall call drawn on him, and he is going to win this one 9-8. The crowd lets out a ton of boos. I think they're booing the ref more than Zain for not giving that final stalling call. Either way, it was a phenomenal match between both competitors.